Welcome back to Joe's Mancave vlog. Christ. Drink it again. Oh, my fucking life sucks right now. Oi. Welcome back to Joe's Mancave vlog. Today we are going to do my top 20 black metal albums of 2022. Fuck off nowadays, black metal. Ugh. Wish it was 1995 still when black metal was still good. Where's my damn beer? I swear to God I'd never drink it again. Oh, there's one right now. There we go. Fucking need a beer. Make my head clear. Make everything better. Foster's Australian for. The fuck? Where'd my goddamn beer go? March to what is going on here? What is this stuff in my pockets? Diabolical baptism? What is this? Sons of Belial? Marquis, what the fuck? I feel like I've overlooked something. Yeah. What the? Well then, up first on Joe's Metal Mancave today is a band from Adelaide, Australia, known as Nocturnes Mist. And we're going to be talking about not one, not two, but three different albums from the band. The band's drummer and lead vocalist Deceiver, about a month ago or so, sent me a little care package because he enjoyed this channel so much. So we're going to start by saying thank you so much, Deceiver. I'm not going to say your real name because you probably don't want me to say that, but thank you so much, Deceiver. That's so fucking cool of you to do this, man. So anyway, the albums we're going to talk about are March to Perdition, Diabolical Baptism, and Marquis of Hell. Nocturnes Mist, as far as I can tell, is one of the biggest kept secrets in the Australian black metal and just metal scene in general. Having formed way back in 1998, they were completely unknown to me until Deceiver got in contact with me. But this was a huge surprise, and I'm not gonna lie, when bands or just fans in general have sent me promo material or whatever you want to label this as. I guess it's more of a gift, really. But whenever someone has sent me stuff, and I mean, obviously you guys know I've done a zine or journalism in some form of way for about 20 years now. It makes me a little nervous because I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. But this was an awesome surprise, and I really, really like this band. So obviously when it comes to Australian metal or black metal in general, a lot of people think of Sadistic Execution, Bestial Warlust, Destroyer 666, Spirit Longinus, and so on and so forth. Those are the more well-known names, but somehow for over 20 years Nocturnes Mist has flown under the radar, and I suppose it's probably because of just the isolation of Australia and just the fact there's not really any major labels or anything like that. So, all three of these albums were released by Seance Records, an Australian label, of course, here, and although the sound on all three of these records is very comparable, and even the production and everything, what I really like about this stuff is that there's quality riffs, it has a genuine darkness to it, and if I had to kind of compare it to something, I would say it reminds me of stuff like, well, of course, Destroyer 666 seems to kind of be an obvious influence, but where Destroyer 666 has that more thrash influence, you don't really see that in Nocturnes Mist's delivery. No, what you have here is a pure, I guess, 90s black metal assault. I'm reminded more of stuff like Dissection and a lot of the Scandinavian, more melodic black death metal bands. And then I also pick up on a bit of that sort of, that Swedish more occult sound too. I feel like Watain or, any of those kind of bands that kind of blew up in Sweden in the early 2000s. It seems like that sounds really prevalent here. And I have no idea if it's actually an influence on the band, but that's kind of what I'm picking up on. My only real thing I can say about these albums that kinda sucks is that there's not really a lot of songs that really stick out and just make me go, I really want to hear this again. But the good thing here is that each album just is really ferocious, just really hard hitting. It's just a good just sonic delivery of black and death metal evil that just, is said and done in about 40 minutes each, which is a perfect length for this kind of record. You don't gotta think about it too much. It's just a good record to put on. Slam a few beers to your buddies, headbang, or do it by yourself, whatever you want. It's just really good. I really enjoyed this a lot. So, let's take a little closer look at the artwork then. And here we have something diabolical going for sure. The poor woman. There's a CD, or maybe she's a whore and she wanted it. Yeah, it's like the old Destroyer 666 song Raped, right? Poor little bitch, yeah, she liked it. Lyrics. Yeah, a bunch of cool artwork, kind of, typical of the more typical of, I guess, the war metal scene. It kind of reminds me of kind of the artwork you see in, Art Gold records and stuff like that. There's a front cover of March to Perdition. Back cover, of course, kind of resembles a lot of those old Swedish and Norwegian black metal albums of the early to mid-90s. If I get the booklet out, I'll show you that. Then there's that again. Some more diabolical artwork, very grim, very cool, love it. Yeah. There's that. And then finally, their most recent album from 2 years ago, Marquis of Hell, I have here on cassette. The Postal Service completely mangled this deceiver, so I guess it made here in at least one piece and it's playable, so that's good. Yeah, so there's that. Very cool looking cassette there. Then a small but simple J card. Yeah. So, when all is said and done, this is definitely a band to investigate, especially if you have an interest in the Australian black metal scene or just want to hear just some really visceral, just menacing, dark, evil-sounding black and death metal. So yeah, that's Nocturnes Mist. Alright, another item from Deceiver's care package is a band known as Sons of Belial and their album, Destruction of Faith. So what we have here is pure, bestial war metal, very much in the spirit of Old Beharit, Blasphemy, Argoat, and I'm also picking up a bit of an incantation vibe here. And some of the vocals, at least to me, sounded like they were really influenced by the old Mystifier recordings. I mean, if you don't know the Mystifier, they're one of the best kept secrets from Brazil. Just fucking awesome band, especially their old album, Goetia. Really cool. But that's kind of what I'm picking up on when I hear this. This is really cool. My only discrepancy with it is that it seemed like the overall volume of it was really, really low, but I mean, I'll download the digital version too, just so I can hear it on other formats or whatever. But very cool stuff, very simplistic, very straightforward. I mean, what I just told you totally actually describes it, and if you know those bands, you know what to expect here. So yeah, it comes on a cassette here. There's the artwork, the side. Comes in this. I'll show this in a second, but it comes in this very cool package. I dug this a lot. So, but first we'll show the cassette. Very cool printing on it. Yeah, man. Then this unfolds to be basically an upside-down cross. Very fucking cool. I like that a lot. So, a funny thing I was to know right away is it says SOB. And then when I first saw it, I thought it meant son of a bitch. But then I realized the band's called Sons of Belial. So never mind. But it's a three-piece band, and again related to Nocturnes Mist. And if you're into Beharit, Blasphemy, Incantation, or Mystifier, you're gonna love this. Fuck yeah, dude, it rules. Oh god, I'm trying. All right. So up next is a band that I have really, really come to enjoy. It's a new band too, and you know how I do things here. I'm mostly sticking to old school 90s or early 2000s black metal here, but this band just keeps blowing me away. So the band in question here is Mooncitadel and their new EP, Onyx Castles and Silver Keys. So, you guys already know from an older collection update from about 6 months ago, I absolutely loved Night Scarlet Symphony. This is, a lot of people have generalized and called this just 90s symphonic black metal, but that is, it's not a good description, because if you think of 90s symphonic black metal, the main thing you're going to think of is you're going to think of Emperor, you're going to think of Dimmu Borgir, you know, or Limbonic Art, Covenant, stuff like that. And I get very little or none of that when I listen to Mooncitadel. No, to me, Mooncitadel has, I mean, it has that influence there, but it's a much more melodic take on it. And I'll say it again, it sounds like there is something from the Greek scene, just the riffage and just something about the melodies. It just feels like it's seeping into this band, and yeah, man, it's fucking cool, dude. There's just such a commanding presence about this band, and I just really, it's really just one of those fist-pumping, just really energetic bands. And I mean, the drumming's fantastic, the riffs are phenomenal, the vocals are vicious and commanding. I love it, man. It's great. It's released by Out of the Dungeon Records, which is a label based out of Finland, which mostly releases black metal and NSBM bands. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I think Mooncitadel, or at least his Stormheight's other projects, do have NSBM characteristics, but that's not the case with Mooncitadel. So for those of you who are fragile, you can listen to this and not feel like you're supporting the Third Reich or whatever the disconnection or damage is with NSBM stuff, and feeling like you're immorally wrong or whatever. It's all about the music, you know, and I don't care what fucking bands write about, because most of these bands write about Satan, and I have basically no interest in Satan, so yeah, whatever. So yeah, Mooncitadel, very good. It's 4 songs, and it's only 20 minutes, but goddamn, man, they pack a lot of fucking goodies into this. Like I already said, great, fantastic drumming, great, just colossal riffs, awesome lead vocals, subtle keyboards, and just an incredible atmosphere that, yeah, it does take you back to the 90s, but still with a little bit of that modern, you know, touch to it, I guess. So there's a front cover, back there, yeah. There's the 2 members, and we got a small little booklet here, I believe, yeah, with just some lyrics. Yeah, very cool. This was, I mean, I've been meaning to buy this for a while now, because it came out about a year ago, but it was sort of impulse buy. A month ago, I was buying my wife something for the holidays, and then this person happened to have this in their inventory on Discogs. I was like, well, when in Rome, yeah. So I picked it up, and it was only $10. I was like, fuck yeah. But anyway, if you have slept on Mooncitadel, or you know, and if you're like me and you're one of those guys that's just like, you know, only 90s black metal, change that, because this is a band I'm going to continue to follow, and I still need to get my hands on the demo collection, but I've heard it's phenomenal as well, so anticipate that in a future collection update. Anyway, Mooncitadel, Onyx Castles, and Silver Keys. Alright, so we have started in Australia, then we went to Finland, and now we're going to Austria with the Austrian black metal band known as Amestigon. Amestigon formed way back in 1995 and is surely one of Austria's oldest bands, but over the years they've not exactly been the most prolific band. Back in 95 they released 2 demos which are distinctively 90s sounding and very Abigor sounding, and interestingly Abigor members Peter, Thomas, and Selenius have often guested on the recordings over the years. After the 2 demos in 95 they've released a few splits, a few more you know, EPs and stuff like that, but it wasn't until 2015 they released their first album, Son of All Sons, and then a few years later, Tier. I got both of these albums from a friend on Facebook who was basically selling a lot of black metal and dark ambient albums because he wanted to spend more time with his music and needed gear and all that kind of stuff, pedals. So I got both those albums for like $7 each, and I was like, fuck yeah, man. So yeah, how to describe Amestigon? So as I already said, the older stuff is very Abigor sounding, but maybe not as fleshed out and as, you know, intricate and just as awesome as Abigor's. But still, the demos and those EPs and splits that have come over the years are really good. I really need to get physical versions of those as well. There's a demo compilation out on Tour de Garde that I've been meaning to get for several months now, and I've listened to it. It's really good. But let's talk about these albums. So from a more traditional sound, with these albums, what you get is something that's sort of like, it's hard to describe, but it's hard to kind of describe this because I'm going to use a word that's going to like trigger people and they go, ugh, but it sounds like progressive black metal. But it doesn't sound like Ishant, and it doesn't sound like Enslaved either. No, there's no kind of swirling 70s-ish keyboards or anything like that, or any of those kind of riffs. No, it just has a sort of progressive nature to it while being very, very dark, very malevolent. It just sounds like an old, menacing, occult-sounding black metal band just kind of run through that more kind of progressive filter. And it works incredibly well. I mean, some songs are, a bit slower and mid-paced, while others are definitely a lot more brutal in their way, but they always kind of go into those more kind of progressive structures as the songs progress. Son of Old Sons was released by Hallruck label, which is a label that just releases like neo-folk, martial industrial music. It was owned and operated by Albin Julius, who passed away back in mid-2022. Some of you may know him, but definitely an icon of that scene. It was released by his label, and he has a small contribution to this album as well, whereas Tier was released by World Terror Committee from Germany. Both these albums stand their ground as very, very good albums, but even so, and even though Amestigon's been around for all these years, they've remained very, very underground and very unknown, which is a shame because these are just great albums. Selenius from Summoning and Abigor does guest vocals here on both albums, and if you know his vocals and if you know what's good for you, you know that Abigor is and his vocals are some of the best ever performed, and I will never not say that, I guess. So, booklet here, photos of the band. I should also mention that Amestigon has basically been, over the years, the main project of Theron, who was an original member of Abigor, and he got kicked out just before the band released their last demo and just before Selenius joined the band. And then, he formed Amestigon in 95, and then the rest of the 90s was spent with a dark wave neoclassical project known as Dargard, which I absolutely love. One of my all-time favorites in that scene. He also had sort of an industrial metal band, we'll call it, but not industrial metal like, Skinny Puppet. It wasn't that kind of bullshit. It was different. It had a little more aggressive, but an industrial metal project called the Dominion 3, which was okay. But, he hasn't really been the most prolific guy over the years, but definitely if you've never heard Dargard, it's really, really good stuff, and if you have slept on Amestigon all these years, we'll change it, because this is just phenomenal stuff. I can't get enough. It's so good, and in the past decade now, the band has been a bit more prolific, having released these 2 albums and several more splits and EPs and all kinds of stuff like that. So definitely, you're going to be seeing me talking about more about this band in the near future. If you, but definitely check this out if you haven't already. It's great stuff, man. And again, progressive black metal, but progressive black metal with a little more meat to it, and just definitely a lot more evil than it's not just a black metal Opeth or something like that, or it's not Enslaved. It's pure black metal, but it's run through a little bit of a different filter and a different feel. God damn, it's so good. So yeah, Amestigon. All right. One more quickie to end out this collection update. So back in late October, I made an order through Darkness Shall Rise Productions, and the main contents of that order we're going to talk about in the coming weeks. But one of the nice little extras I found in their web shop was the Army of the Northstar book, which was part of the Enslaved box set they released, I think about 2 years ago. So the Army of the Northstar box set contained the demo, the split with Emperor, and the first 2 albums, Viking Valgoli, or however you say it, and the second album, Frost. Basically a collection of the early and true blackened Viking metal stuff that they released. And I know, the albums that followed are certainly, black metal too, but it's definitely, the band progressed. They went in a more kind of progressive style already early on, and, you could kind of see where they were going. And whereas this earlier stuff is just, there's the black metal influence is clearly there. So this booklet was only, I think, 4 or 5 euros, so I was like, man, I gotta get that. And kind of the coolest thing about those box sets is a lot of them come with these booklets, and, this booklet here, basically what you get is, it's just about anything you can imagine related to those early years of Enslaved. I mean, there's all kinds of photos, flyers, demo reviews, interviews, all kind of logos there. I mean, you get interviews with a lot of people that were, fans of these recordings over the years. The band members themselves, of course, speak. Very, very cool, man. I mean, for only €4 or €5, I had to include it in that order. But, there's, as far as I'm concerned, the early years of Enslaved are their best, but I have maintained a constant appreciation for the band over the years, and I've genuinely enjoyed everything they've done, which is kind of a rarity for me, because I feel like most, in fact, pretty much all other of the early Norwegian black metal bands, kind of wussed out or went in completely different directions, I'm not gonna, say again how much I despise the direction that Saturicon went in, and the last couple Emperor albums are terrible in my opinion. And then, it's, but Enslaved, I mean, they changed a lot there. You can't consider them black metal anymore these days, even though they still use black metal vocals, but it's too different, to label or, file under that category, but I still enjoy it for what it is. But this early stuff will always be the best, man. Just really great stuff. And anyway, the booklet, I'm just kind of showing this real quick, but, see all these old advertisements of merch photos, stuff like that, talk about tours, the experiences in the studio, the influence, their relationship with Euronymous and stuff like that. He's thanked in the booklet of their first album. Obviously it was released by Death Like Silence Productions shortly after he was murdered by Varg. So, really cool stuff. Like I said, I don't know if there's any more of these in the DSR shop, but, this is one of the main things that makes these box sets released by DSR so cool as these booklets, with all this, archival material and just seeing all this old stuff. And anyway, as I said earlier, I did make an order with DSR. We're going to talk about that in greater detail in the coming weeks. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Joe's Metal Mancave in this Holiday Hangover episode. Thank you once again to Deceiver for sending me that care package. Dude, you're fucking awesome, man. Thank you so much. I can't express my gratitude enough, man, but thank you for watching. Thank you for being a fan, and thank you to all of you that watch and tune into every video I put up here on YouTube. I always have more plans, more stuff coming, and anyway, hope you continue to enjoy it. So, my name is Joe. I'll see you next time on Joe's Metal Mancave vlog.